Dr. Ramon Goins with the Done Dissertation. Typically, I know you always see me on the Done Dissertation office hours, but I wanted to do a special live stream today to talk about some keys to dissertation success. What I've been finding is that a lot of folks want to complete the dissertation, but they haven't committed. And so, in today's video, I want to talk about why you need to commit to finish your dissertation before it gets completed. And if you put these strategies and change your mindset with these particular things we're going to talk about today, you will know without a doubt complete your dissertation in record time. And again, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of the Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. Today, I'm streaming on a couple different platforms. So you probably see me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram as well. So I got a couple devices. So you see me moving around. Like I said, I have a device next to me. So you might see me shift back and forth. But I'm looking forward to having this conversation about the key to dissertation success and how it centers on commitment before completion. And this is why I'm saying that. What I'm finding is that I see a lot of folks who are writing a dissertation and getting very frustrated. I read a lot of the threads on the various Facebook groups related to dissertation, and folks are getting caught up and really are not experiencing the success that they want to. But a lot of times we see people in the comments, what they're asking is like, well, have you thought about doing these other things? Either they're not able to take that advice and apply it, or what I'm seeing is, in fact, that a lot of folks are talking about how they are just overwhelmed with everything with the dissertation process. And so if that is you, like, know that you are not alone. Like, even when I wrote my dissertation, I was a full-time teacher when I first started. I was a full-time teacher. I was a varsity basketball coach. And I still had a private music studio. I had one client of mine that I had saw from 4th grade, and I carried him out to 11th grade. And so I know what it's like to be in that mindset where you have a whole bunch of going on in addition to having to still write your dissertation. And so, but what I'm finding is that because folks have not committed is the reason why they don't see the completion. And this is what it looks like. For instance, you know that today is your writing day, but a friend calls to say, hey, let's, grab lunch real quick. Let's do this. All you needed was that 1 hour to hour and a half to do your writing. And they called and wanted to meet up at that opportune time. And so rather than sitting down and writing and then going to lunch, you say, well, I'll get back to that writing later. And then you go out to lunch. Next thing you know, you come back. It's hard to get back into that writing groove. You sit there with those words and it's just not clicking because you weren't in that mind frame to get the work done. And when you're in a dissertation, like, you just have to realize that this process can be very quick if you're focused. And you have to stay just focused for a short amount of time, to be quite honest with you. Like, folks that are working in our program are finishing their dissertations in 1 year or less. And just to give an example, one of my clients started in our June cohort, and it was, when it came to us, had finished and defended his proposal, and now was finalizing his dissertation and writing the last chapters. And literally from June 1st to August 1st wrote the rest of his dissertation. And now we're wrapping up and we're getting ready for his final defense in the next month or so. So you can imagine, you can have a quick turnaround. But what I found from his example is that he's been laser focused on the writing and just being consistent. The more consistent you are, the more you show up, the easier the process becomes. And so I want to talk about, I think it's so important that you have to commit before you complete. And I think one of the barriers and mindset shifts that has to happen is that oftentimes folks who don't commit to the dissertation, they often ask this question, well, I don't believe that what I'm going to write is going to be something my committee is going to accept. And with that, it causes you to procrastinate. And with those feelings of procrastination, you don't see anything getting done. Every time you go to write, you're like, I got to get this right. I got to get this perfect. And when you put all that belief together, it just shows up in negative ways in your dissertation. And so what you have to start doing is not thinking about, well, what I write today, will it work? Your actually question you to ask is, what does it look like when my writing works? And so with that, having that kind of positive mindset will allow you to sit down and actually focus on your writing and get this process done. Again, I often say that the writing is a chain reaction from our thinking. So the clearer we can get our thinking, the easier it becomes to put those thoughts into words. But if we have these ideas in our mind that are just, getting in the way, it can really backfire and really hinder us from finishing our dissertation. And so if this is something that you're experiencing or you can agree with, just drop something in the comments so I know that you're getting what I'm talking about, because I know this is a feeling for a lot of folks. We're taught as academics, in our doctoral programs, like, you need to know the literature, you need to be reading everybody else. But it gets hard that you get to the dissertation and then they switch up on you and say, well, actually, it's your turn to be the expert and you do all the work now, when you didn't feel like you might have been adequately trained to do that. And so, again, I find that folks who are committed often finish faster than those who are not. And again, I say commitment becomes before completion. And if you look at it in the dictionary, commitment comes first. Like, so if you commit to doing this dissertation, there's no doubt in my mind that you can complete the dissertation. Dr. Kenyatta, how you doing? I see you on Instagram. What's going on? And so I think this is so important. So if you have any questions about the dissertation, just go ahead and drop them in the comments as I'm talking. If something resonates, go ahead and we'll have a Q&A at the end of this. So first, I think, is that you have to get over this belief that you can finish. You have to really believe it. Because what happens is, once you believe that you can finish, you start to put your actions into a way that gets you closer to the finishing line. And this is what happens. And this is a conversation I had, and I talk about my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation. I had a client who was a busy education professional, was running a school. And this one day we were walking out of her school building, and she realized, she said, you know what, Dr. Goings, in order for me to finish my dissertation, I've got to become more selfish. And it clicked for her and it clicked for me. And I said, well, what does this being selfish look like? And then for her, it ended up being, well, you know what? I'm going to start taking Fridays off, or I'm going to do every other Friday, or I'm going to give capacity to those I lead so that they can run the building so I can get some of my time back in order to focus on the dissertation. And I think this is so important for everybody as you're trying to navigate this process, particularly if you're trying to do it alone. And I found that the more selfish, unfortunately, you can get, the quicker that this process goes. And I'm not just saying being selfish and not communicating, though, right? So if you're committed to your dissertation, you are committed to making sure that everyone that's involved in your process knows what's going on, and having that communication often and very frequent with everybody that is playing a role in your process. And so what that can look like is that, for instance, you may have a family member. So if your spouse, maybe someone you're taking care of, you have that conversation with them and say, hey, I really need to finish the dissertation. I know if I sacrifice my time over the next couple of months, I can make tremendous progress. In order to do so, this is what the change will look like. And that might be you saying, hey, I'm going to wake up an hour earlier. Can you take over the kids while I do this extra hour in the morning? Or at night, if you're a night owl and like to write, like, hey, I'm going to stay up an hour later. Can you just give me that quiet time so that I can finish my dissertation? Again, folks can do it. If I can do it with the schedule I had, I literally wrote my dissertation from beginning to end, including collecting my data. And I did a qualitative study, collecting my data. That whole process I did in 7 months. And so I know that you all can do it. And I see my clients do it faster than I can. That's why I know that this works. But it becomes like, are you committed to finishing? And I find that the more you're likely to be committed, the easier that this process can get for you. And so, again, if you have a question about the dissertation, drop it in the comments, because I would love to hear what you all are thinking about in terms of your commitment to your dissertation. And in particular, I would love to know what gets in the way from you being committed to getting the work done. Because I know a lot of you have so many other things going on in your personal life that are getting in the way. But I want you all to start thinking about, what does life look like when I finish the dissertation? How many more consulting opportunities will I have? How much more income potential will I have? Will I have a new promotion at work? Those are some things that look different. A lot of things I find a lot of my clients do once they finish is that they realize they have so much time back. A lot of folks don't even know what to do with the time they have after they completed the dissertation. And so you have time to give back to your family. You have time to give back to your community in ways that you might not have had the chance to, while you were spending a little bit of time being a little selfish to get through this process. And again, I want you all to succeed and get through this. And I don't want your commitment to get in the way of that. And for a lot of folks, they always say, I'm committed to finishing. But I always would ask, well, does your actions follow that commitment? And if it doesn't, we need to change that immediately. For instance, is your writing consistent? Are you doing daily writing? As I mentioned in a number of other videos, right? Binge writing is cool. There is sometimes where you have to engage in that process. But if you're trying to go through this whole process by binge writing your way through, it is an uphill battle. It's not impossible. So I never will say it's impossible, because people do it all the time. However, it's tough. So imagine today was your writing day, and the last time you wrote was last Sunday. A week went by, and you did nothing related to your dissertation. It is hard to pick that document back up. It might take you an hour and a half to just get back into the flow in the groove of what you are working on. And so, if that's you, I want you all to start thinking about maybe you want to do something different in terms of not engaging in binge writing, but maybe start doing it more consistent. And so, for the folks who have busy lives at home, work, etc., I want you all to start thinking about some strategy on how you can be more consistent with your commitment, right? So that means daily writing. That might mean getting up a half hour early or a half hour later, or doing work a half hour later than you would in the evening time. There's time that you can fit in your schedule to get things done. I often say, even if you have 15 minutes, you might get a couple of words on the paper. That's giving you something more than if you did nothing that day. I find a lot of folks, and you can look at a past office hours episode with Dr. Charles Jackson. He talked about that the more committed he got to finishing and writing and doing his writing a little bit every day, the faster the process went for him. And he got quicker with his writing. So I find that if you engage in this kind of daily writing, it becomes so much easier to pick up where you left off in your writing. And if you find that you don't have, let's say, for instance, you feel like you don't have the accountability to show up every day, this is when you need to have your accountability partner and a reality check partner. So in my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, I talk about what both of those types of people mean to you. And in particular, your accountability partner is someone that can push you and keep you on track to checking in on you. Say, hey, did you write your dissertation today? Did you do a little bit? All those things matter when you're trying to get through this process. And I find that those who try to do this alone, it is tough. Generating new knowledge is already a hard process, something we're always trying to learn as doc students. And even after you finish your doctoral program, it's still a constant learning process. But it's just like, why put that extra pressure on you when you can have someone that might help you push you along the route? And as I talk about all the time, like shout out to my partner, Dr. Larry Walker, that we met each other on the first day of class at Morgan State University in the Urban Educational Leadership Program. And we were like, hey, man, you trying to do this, try to go through the program together? Like, we'll check each other's papers. We'll do whatever we got to do. And that was our process to get through the dissertation. We literally read each other's papers the whole way through, including the dissertation. We didn't have a cohort structure in our program at that time, but we made our own cohort in order to get through. That was key, to know that we had somebody pushing each other to get through. And it wasn't just about the writing. It was about all the behind the scenes work that happens in the dissertation process. Again, there's a process happening as you're writing. If you don't have that insight, it's hard to get through. And so what was happening is that we give each other insight. Hey, go check on this. Make sure this document gets sent to the graduate school. Oh, make sure you check in on this person. Like, make sure you do these things to get through the process. And so these are all the things that, again, it all stems back to, if you are committed to your dissertation, you can indeed complete it. But again, I always ask, if you say that you're committed to your dissertation, do your actions show? And if your actions don't show it, we need to change that immediately. And if you're a doctoral student who finds that you don't have that support in your program, or you don't have that accountability partner, or you just don't know the system, like you just don't even know where to start, this is where the Done Dissertation can be very helpful to you and can help you get through the process. And so what I want to bring a comment on from Facebook. I have Jen Coppin. Thank you for submitting this comment. She mentions that I'm writing chapters 4 and 5. And I follow the outline for the chapter, and I work on each section in the chapter per day. The process works for me. It's easier. And then she says, also, it's not stressful at all. I enjoy the process. Jen, I'm glad to hear that is working for you. That is something that we teach in the Velocity Group Coaching Program, is to how to think about your chapters in small chunks. So essentially, think about your chapter in 3 to 4 page increments, because the faster you can do 3 to 4 pages and think about those in chunks, the easier it is to build your dissertation and get through that process quicker. So I'm glad that you're finishing up, Jen. And Jen, if you're interested and need support when you finish up your dissertation and need to edit, feel free to shoot me a DM, or just visit our website at www.thedonedissertation.com, and we can provide editing for you as well if you're trying to get through that process and you need support with your editing. But I greatly appreciate that comment about getting through the process. It doesn't have to be hard. And again, I think, and Jen, if you're still on, if you could type in the comments, did your commitment and action, did those align in order for you to kind of get through the process as you've been doing? And so with that, I just want you all to really start thinking about being more committed to the dissertation. I want folks to get done. I want you to get out of these programs because you're spending thousands of dollars, and it hurts every time I hear folks. I've had people come to me to work with us that literally have been at the doctoral program for 10 to 11 years, a decade. Imagine all the thousands of dollars that folks have spent on dissertation seminar hours, and you don't have a degree to show for it. That's just something that I don't want to see happen to folks. I want folks to get through this dissertation, and it can be done if you're committed and if your actions show your commitment. The faster you put those actions into place, the faster this process gets for you. And again, I don't want you all to do going through these doctoral programs, spending all this money and then accumulating student loan debt. That's a whole nother issue in and of itself. In particular for Black and Brown scholars, that we are dealing with this high student loan debt. And so I want us to really start thinking about being more committed so that we can complete the dissertation. And if you find that you are a doctoral student and you don't have that support and you don't have that system and you don't know where to start, I welcome you to apply for the Velocity Group Coaching Program. It is a 4-month coaching program that we offer. And in the program, our program promise to you is that over the next 4 months, you will have written either your dissertation proposal or have completed the rest of your dissertation and are ready to defend. And again, 4 months. People are like, why 4 months? I'm like, I don't want you all to be in this program forever. And I want you all to get your doctorates and get out and do the research to transform the communities that you care about. And so again, with the Velocity Group Coaching Program, we provide the structure. It first starts with our building a dissertation plan, because most times as doc students, we get thrown into the dissertation process, but we don't have a plan to complete it. So first we give you, we put your plan together, and then you execute. And then without a doubt, you can be ready to write and defend your proposal or your final dissertation in the next 4 months by working with us. For our cohort that is starting right now, our August group, it is closing August the 27th. So on Friday, we will stop taking applications, and we will actually stop taking applications for the rest of the year. And then our next group cohort will start in January 2022. So if you find like you're in the process right now and you are not getting the support you need and you need the help to get it done, I encourage you to apply to the Velocity Group Coaching Program. And to apply is www.velocitydissertation.com. And folks can see that if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, but I'm going to go ahead and drop that in for Instagram as well. And it's www.velocitydissertation.com. Perfect. So again, any questions related to the dissertation, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'll be glad to take it on Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, because I definitely want to help and provide support to you all to get through this process. And real quick, I got Jen. Oh, she says, okay, she'll be done in September or October. Man, that's perfect. I'd love to hear more about what your dissertation is about. That'd be great. And Jen says, I'm fully engaged and committed. For sure. If you have plowed through and gotten through your dissertation and you're getting ready to, defend your have your final defense in the next month or so, oh, that's perfect. Yeah, you definitely were committed. And so I'll take any questions that folks have about the process, where you are. And Jen, if you're still on, like, drop what was like a key for your success, because you are having success. You're getting ready to finish your program. What has been key for you to finish your dissertation? And again, I want folks to get out of these programs. So if you need that support, feel free to reach out to us. Again, our applications will be closing on Friday the 27th. So if you know someone, share this video out with someone, share this video out with 10 of your friends. so that they have access to this. And again, you can visit www.velocitydissertation.com to apply for the Velocity Group Coaching Program. And again, our program promise is over the next 4 months that you will have written and prepared to defend either your dissertation proposal or your final defense. And I know I have some folks who might be before the dissertation or coming up, get ready to start. So I want to give you all something as well that could be helpful as you are navigating your dissertation process. So we have a done dissertation 10 strategies to complete your dissertation checklist and an additional audio training. And so to get access to that, you can text hashtag free FREE to 301-701-2466. And that'll give you access to the checklist. And so I'm very simple in our strategy because I don't think the dissertation process has to be as complicated as we make it out to be. And so this strategy checklist will give you the start. And if you find that you still need some support and expansion, I would encourage you to grab our book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, a guide to navigating the dissertation process and finishing in record time. I wrote this book, simple book, short, because you all have so much to do as doc students, right? I want you all to give you the game and strategy quick so that you can get through the dissertation process. And so I want you all to grab this book. You can grab it from our website, www.thedonedissertation.com, if you need more support. And Jen, if you know anybody in your program who is maybe struggling or trying to get through the process, I encourage you to send them our information, send them a link to grab the book, whatever you could do to support them, because I want to make sure that doctoral students get through their program. And my goal is, with the done dissertation, is to support at least 1,000 doctoral students to get through the process. So far, we supported over 100. And so my goal is to 10x that and get to over 1,000 doc students. Just imagine what that does for folks' careers, what that does for folks' futures. It's just something that I want to make sure that you all get through the process. And so I have a couple minutes before I have to jump off here. Any questions that you all have about the dissertation? Sorry about that. Instagram got cut off for a second. Any questions about the dissertation? Again, if anything ever pops up, please feel free to reach out. The goal for today, what I wanted to get across, is that you need to be committed before you complete the dissertation. The more committed that you get and the more you put your actions into momentum and into movement, the quicker the dissertation process will be. And so I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. I just wanted to jump on real quick. Again, I've been having these same conversations with folks, and I just found that commitment is such a key to getting through the dissertation process. So I want to make sure you all, have the access and the strategy to get through that. And I see Jen, before we jump off, I see Jen said to succeed in the dissertation process, I think it's very important to have a clear understanding of what you want to do in your research. Then create a plan and outline and attack it every day. I'm going to leave it with Jen's strategy right there. That is indeed the game. Again, because you are committed, you start to understand and put a plan in place, and then you execute the plan. Without execution, you will not have completion. And without commitment, you won't have completion. So I just think commitment is such a key component to this first and foremost. And then, as Jen mentioned, once you create your plan and outline, and then you attack it every day, you'd be surprised at how quick the dissertation and your chapters get written. And I would honestly say at the proposal phase, it's actually even faster for a lot of students because you don't have to collect any data. It's just on you to write and just know your literature. And once you do that and you put your outline and you just attack it every day, you can write dissertation chapters in a month easily, without a doubt, especially at the proposal phase, because you don't have to collect data and worry about institutional review board approval, all those things that might hold up your timeline a little bit. And so with that, I want to say thank you all. I'm going to do some more of these over this next week because I just find that folks are out here by themselves in this process when you don't have to be. And again, the Done Dissertation, we can support you. I just welcome you to apply for the Velocity Group Coaching Program. You can learn more about our program at www.velocitydissertation.com. You can learn more about the program entails, all the components. You can apply right on the website. And we will be reviewing applications this week so we can get folks in. And again, the application deadline is August 27th for our August cohort. and we won't have another one until January 2022. So if you're coming up on your dissertation, you'll start getting more information about that around the end of September, early October, about how you can apply to be part of that January cohort. And again, if you all need to reach out, feel free to shoot me a DM. Make sure you catch up with us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you can find me. Definitely reach out, and we want to make sure you get supported. So I hope you all have a great start to your week tomorrow. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out to us.